Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wyatt Matters Show, the only show that digs through the headlines for the craziest, most bizarre, and gut-splittingly funny stories, and then we try to make sense out of the nonsense. I'm Steve Wyatt, your ringmaster of this three-ring circus, and with me today is Todd Bussey.
Hey, we didn't start the fire, Steve, but we are going to comment on it.
All right, John Samples.
Howdy, y'all.
And host of a brand new podcast called Promise Hill, Kimberly Herman.
Good morning.
Kimberly is stepping away from one-on-one counseling to create a new type of podcast, mixing story with soul care. You can find Promise Hill on all the podcast platforms, so please check it out. Now, you got to promise, Kimberly, you're not leaving us, are you?
I'm not leaving, no way.
Right, okay.
Yay.
On the show today, we got a daddy-to-be who turned his gender reveal into an inferno. And then we're going to see what we can learn from Charlie Sheen's legendary bender. Now, if we do this show right, you're going to laugh out loud, maybe even snort a little coffee through your blowholes, and then, bam, we will flip the script and ask what few others dare ask: why does any of this even matter? So crank up the volume and refill that coffee, because around here, every punchline has a purpose. Did you hear about this proud gonna-be daddy? He fired up the grill for what was supposed to be a low-key gender reveal. You know what those are, right? You slice a cake or pop a balloon, and if the slice is blue or the powder pops out as pink, well, then you're going to get what you got. Am I right, Todd?
Yeah. You know, and I think if it was just that, I think it would be fine, Steve. But these things, which, you know, was $100 on the cake and salsa and having your friends over, they've gone up to like professional photographers, you know, several $100s there, catered food, custom invites. Some of these things actually get into a six-figure event. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, and don't even talk about what they're doing in Dubai here, but they'll take your little backyard pinata, they'll turn it into a participation trophy.
What you gonna do, man? Rich people get richer and
I guess.
spend more.
I guess. I guess so.
Well, I do like a unique celebration. A new life is a miracle, not a spectacle, right? Yeah.
Well, here's how it came down. Daddy picked the wrong batch from his storage shed, namely smoke grenades from his hunting gear, and poof, the whole backyard is covered with a thick, pungent fog, setting off the neighbors' smoke alarms within a half-mile radius, dogs squealing, kids sprinting, the whole scene looking like a bad sci-fi movie.
It sounds like a Hallmark movie that took a very dark turn.
Oh, I would watch that one, actually.
I don't think that's what they meant when they say smoke them if you got them, but you know, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And
But
I can't
why
wait to
this
see a Pinterest board on that
compulsive
one.
need to turn a simple ultrasound into a pyrotechnic sideshow? I mean, nothing says parental joy quite like torching your Tesla. Really? For Instagram likes to boot? Hey, we don't judge. We just love the laughs. So
Sure we
keep
do.
it up. Keep it up. Keep doing it.
Oh, I don't know what that gender revealed other than how flammable that guy's garage door was. Did you see that?
I did a little research on these gender reveals, guys, and according to my research, the El Dorado fire in California was 100% caused by a pyrotechnic device that malfunctioned, burned 46,000
man.
acres. A firefighter lost his life, and the costs were in the tens of millions of dollars. And I don't think there's a gender reveal rider on most people's insurance policies, so I'm not sure how
Probably
that,
not.
how that
No
works
kidding.
out.
Be revealed where the prison is going to be, where this dad's going to be held.
This is
Yeah.
terrible, right? Gosh.
Very terrible.
Some of these gender reveals have gotten completely out of hand, like what you just said. So what about just sticking with a cupcake, you know, with the mystery color in the middle? Keep it low key, but fun.
I mean, if you have to
It
inform
has
the
to
National
be-
Transportation Safety Board, I think you've lost the plot line of
Yeah.
what you're trying to do.
It must be a generational thing because I don't get these reveal parties. When I was growing up, gender reveal was what happened when my swim trunks didn't have a drawstring. You know what I mean?
Thank you for that. Wow.
Todd, what do you think?
On that,
No. Move on. Come on.
A single thing about that, but I do think maybe people are having fewer kids, and because of that, it becomes a bigger event. So, like number one, you got the charcuterie and the drone show and the coordinated set rows, But I think if you're like the rest of us, by the time you have number 3, you're just sending out a text, and like by number 6, you got them tossed in the back of a van with a little note on that says it's a boy, don't wake him.
Well, moms celebrate another baby by lowering their standards for cleanliness. And I did this, and I only have one kid. True story.
John, why
The
don't you
whole
bring this
passy
home,
where you
buddy?
like sterilize the pacifier on the first kid, and by the time number 3 comes around, you hits the ground, outside, you're sucking on it and putting it back in their mouth.
All right, John, bring it home, buddy.
The blogger that started all of this back in 2008, she has gone front and center saying, I regret it. Please stop it. But I miss the days when instead of the little angel's gender being revealed, the big angel did the revealing, and Gabriel didn't even need a PowerPoint. He just said it's a boy and he's going to save the world. And that's it. No party favors, no drone footage, no lawsuit. Seems like a better plan to me.
But there were a few angels, and a little bit of a spectacle.
Yeah, but it was free.
I just wish we'd celebrate what kind of person that baby is going to be, and not what kind of genitals they have.
Ooh.
Then there's that.
Yep. All right. So I think we rang that one. Is it ring, rang, rung? Anyway, we got all of it out of there about 2 minutes ago. So let's move on. You want to?
Yeah.
So have you guys binged on Charlie Sheen's 2-part biopic?
No.
Which is fancy pants insider industry lingo for a movie about somebody. Anyway, Charlie's movie tells the story of his tiger blood-fueled train wreck, but in slow motion because the brakes don't kick in until after a more than 10 years long bender. Do you remember back in 2011, Charlie was on the highest throne of Hollywood, only to drop like a proverbial rock. Fast forward to now, and Charlie's riding 7 years of sobriety. Good for you, Charlie. And he pulls no punches as he owns the wreckage that he and only he caused. Well, our crack research team scoured the tapes so we could bring you the highlights, or more to the truth, lowlights, that will make you want to scream, what? Winning!
Oh, yeah.
Now, one quick disclaimer before we go to the tape. When we laugh, we're not laughing at Charlie's epic implosion. We're laughing with him. Because this is exactly how Charlie tells the story himself. He owns it all, the ridiculous, the reckless, the rock bottom. And he does it with zero filter and a transparency the rest of us only wish we had about our own story. One more thing.
Not really.
To understand these moments, we need to define terms, because Charlie's dictionary is a far different dictionary than ours. So this is rapid fire, okay? According to Charlie, what
The
is...
torpedo of truth. His in his own words, bro, a torpedo of truth is me dropping high explosive reality bombs. I don't swerve for nobody. I don't apologize. I just explode through the hull of your boring little life and leave a giant smoking hole shaped like winning. And I think Sheen's life may have just been one big gender reveal.
And you know what? I think truth does feel like a torpedo at times.
Sure
How
does.
about tiger blood?
Tiger
Kimberly?
blood. Okay, here's what Charlie said. This is funny. It's a different breed of DNA running through these veins. It's the secret sauce that makes me impervious to gravity, haters, and hotel furniture.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right, Todd, how about winning? What does that mean?
Winning. You already used that earlier. It's fantastic. It's not a verb anymore. It is absolutely a lifestyle. You're either winning or you're a troll living in the basement with your mom. And it's like the only appropriate response when
Is there something wrong with that?
mere mortals questioning their life choices at 3 a.m. when they're live streaming from a tree house with 2 goddesses.
Oh.
You guys say
There you go. All right.
winning.
Wow.
Well, another one. Look at my face. This is Charlie talking. Look at my face. My jawline could cut glass. That's not Botox. That's 2,000-year-old Greek god particles swimming in my cheeks. And guys, I know the feeling. It's a heavy burden getting stuck with all those god
Is that why you grew a beard?
We have a feeling about something, John.
Adonis DNA, baby. Adonis.
it.
That's Adonis DNA. All right. Warlock.
Warlock. Okay, here we go. I don't follow the laws of physics or CBS contracts. I bend spoons with my mind and make ratings disappear. Poof. Now you see 2.5 Men, and now you don't.
All right. We got a few extra seconds before we go to the break. Charlie really believed that, didn't he?
I think he did.
Yeah.
Sure he did.
And it's funny coming up with these definitions and terms for explaining how you're living your life. I know we'll get into that next segment there, but it is. I like some of the terms actually. So
They're funny.
I'm gonna maybe grab a few of those and adopt them in my own life. Although I will say the torpedo of truth, my Aunt Vicky had that covered for like decades.
Well, there you go.
So yeah, she just said, well, "This is the way I see it, and that's just the way it is."
Well, there you go.
Okay.
Hey, we're going to go to the break, but before we do, if you know someone who is under a pile of private student loan debt and needs some help getting out, turn them on to YRefi. YRefi.com. That's the letter Y, REFY.com. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Wyatt Matters and back to Charlie Sheen. In his documentary, Charlie tells about his honeymoon trip to Japan. He was already half in the bag, which means what? Drunk. And he and his new wife were already fighting, and 300 passengers were sleeping. So Charlie, having just tossed back, I can't believe this, 4, 5, 6 shots of vodka, he gets invited to meet the captain.
I go into the cockpit, and the captain gets up, and he says, "Can we get a photo?" And I said, "Yes, but it'd be really cool if I was in your captain's jacket." And he's like, "Yes, oui, monsieur. It'd even be cooler if I was wearing your cap." And he's like, "Yes, of course." I said, "I mean, if we're going to do this, let's go all the way. Can I sit in your seat?" And just rested my hands on the controls. George is flying the plane. That's like international code for autopilot, right? And I said, just making a joke, I said, "So is George still flying the plane?" And the co-pilot flicks a switch and says, "Not anymore." I start guiding this plane. Very, very subtle adjustments. And then they saw that maybe this might get away from them, and the co-pilot turned George back on.
All right, John, other than thinking the pilot should lose his bars, you got a reaction to that?
I'm having trouble getting past the pilot losing bars. Well, I'm thinking, good evening, folks. This is your captain, Charlie Sheen. We'll be cruising flight 666 at an altitude of winning. Intermittent patches of regret.
And torpedoing. Probably.
Wow.
Oh, man. Oh, there are so many other crazy moments to choose from. The night at the Plaza Hotel, you remember that? That's the porn
Week.
star locked in the bathroom. She's screaming. Charlie is buck naked wearing a lampshade like it's Fashion Week. It's crazy.
And remember what he said in the ABC interview? "I'm on a drug. It's called Charlie Sheen."
Hey, Charlie Sheen.
I think he needs a drug.
No, he's had him.
Yeah, I think somebody asked him if he was bipolar, and I think his response was, "I'm by winning."
When he got fired from 2.5 Men, wasn't there something about him climbing up the Live Nation building?
Absolutely.
And chugging tiger blood and Gatorade and swinging like a madman?
Oh, my
How's this guy
goodness.
still alive?
Well, he almost wasn't a couple of times. In fact, here's another Charlie moment.
I was in Montreal, and I was shooting this movie called Free Money. I found a dope connection as soon as I got to Montreal. It's cooking, yeah. So I'd overshot the mark, and it got to the point where I literally could not keep my eyes open. I felt they were so burned and so heavy. The director kind of spotted it. He says, "You look like you're falling asleep on camera," which had never happened before. I said to him, I need a glass of ice. He was like, okay. He said, give me a glass of ice. And I said, I'll be right back. There was a little bathroom, and I went in there, and I took an ice cube, and I shoved it up my butt.
That's one way to break the ice. I couldn't.
Let me
help myself.
apologize to all of America.
No, there you. Yeah.
I think it's
He's
super
just trying to
creative.
chill out. He's just chilling.
Oh, come on.
But that's what he calls it. Winning. That's winning, John. That's winning.
It reminds me of the Bible verse. There is a way that seems right to a man, but oh no! But in the end, it leads to death. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Or frostbite.
But seriously, guys, it's funny until you realize that we have all flown that plane one time or another. We call it self-confidence, independence, freedom, whatever makes us feel in control. But when ego's the pilot, faith's the passenger, and the landing is never smooth. Some of us call it a rock bottom kind of experience.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Kimberly,
Well,
you have a thought?
Yeah. During his decades-long bender, he almost flatlined a dozen times as he kept chasing highs that always left him feeling more hollow than the last high. It is really incredible he's still alive.
Yeah, it is, and that's the only reason why you can laugh at it, because he is. We go back, we look at our crazy stories there. But I will say he's forced us to pull out a lot of the wisdom literature from the Bible. Isn't he? It's like, look at those old proverbs there, and maybe think about another one, which was the wise woman builds her home, but a foolish woman tears it down with her own hands. And I think that's what Charlie was doing. He was building and he was tearing down at the same time. I think that's sad.
Yeah.
But you do see it a lot. You do see it a lot. Yeah.
Don't you think the producers of that documentary are just shocked that they're getting all this free ink on this show?
Right.
But anyway, this is what I hope will be the next chapter that he writes. It's the same Charlie that screamed, "I am a God." He's now sober, humble, and he's talking about Jesus on podcasts. He even admits he's on a search for spiritual truth, and that truth is far greater than just some torpedo.
Yeah.
So the truth of God, back to the Bible, sharper than any double-edged sword, and it can penetrate even to the soul and spirit. So I hope that's where he's going.
We haven't even cracked the book on everything that happened in his life, and he, by his own admission, was a real hot mess. But understand, folks, the Bible doesn't say, "Come to me, all you who have your act together." It says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened," because Jesus wants to give you, just as he has given me, and hopefully Charlie as well, rest. He wants us to have rest. So let me give a word of hope to all the beautiful train wrecks listening right now.
Winning train wrecks.
The arm of the Lord is not too short to save. You got to love that verse, folks. Let me tell you, when I was in deep doo-doo at the Charlie moment of my life, that's the verse that carried me. The arm of the Lord is not too short to save. So let me define that term. It means God doesn't have little T-Rex baby arms just flapping around, useless little stumpy things.
Nice
no,
visual.
Just imagine Jesus peeking through heaven's gate thinking, "Man, I sure wish I could help, but Wyatt, I can't reach you. You're too much of a hot mess." No. No one has ever sunk beneath God's reach. His arm is never too short to save. And that goes for me as well as Charlie freaking Sheen. And you too, by the way. You too. We'll be right back.
Way back it might be. It could be.
Oh, I am very sad for you if you're a baseball fan and never got to hear that home run call
I miss
from
that
the
voice.
godfather of sports broadcasters, the one and only Harry Caray. Harry had other holies in his bag of tricks. Holy Toledo, holy moly, holy smoke, holy jumpin' hornet's nest. But holy cow was his finest. He called games for the St. Louis Cardinals for 25 years before betraying fans like me by going to those blasted Chicago Cubs, where he trademarked his other famous move. Harry would lean out from his broadcast booth during the seventh inning stretch and slur out these words. Yeah, buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. If I ever get back.
Wow.
Harry
Fine
wasn't
words.
just an
whole
announcer.
song.
He was your rowdy uncle, sneaking in some buds, throwing a party over the airways. Kids like me would huddle around our little transistor radios and dial into that mammoth 50,000-watt signal from KMOX and listen to Harry paint a picture far better than any TV ever could. One reason for his appeal, he was just a regular guy. No pretense. Even his theology was born of the streets. In his autobiography, appropriately titled Holy Cow, Harry wrote, "I'm not a religious man. I've made mistakes in my life, but I've always believed in Almighty God. I've always believed that if you live your life as a decent person, the umpire, in the end, will say you did it right." So, let's break it down. Harry believed in God. He made plenty of mistakes, though he lived a decent life. And Harry believed that come Judgment Day, the great umpire in the sky is going to call him safe when he crosses home plate. And that's why I call Harry Everyman, because that's what most people also believe. If I want to be in God's starting lineup someday, all I got to do is post a slightly better batting average than you. I don't have to hit it out of the park. I don't have to pile up a bunch of RBIs. Just keep the ball in play. Maybe I won't get a mansion next to Jesus. Maybe mine will be a pup tent on the edge of the city, but at least I'll get in. I may slide through the hair of my chinny chin chin, but as long as God grades by the curve, I'll make the cut. And then when I die, I'll hear Harry himself say, "He might be, he could be, he is Holy Wyatt."
Why does that matter?
In the minds of most, that's the formula most are counting on. Do good, try to live a decent life, admit it when you blow it, because you will blow it. So when you do blow it, do something religious to make up for it. There's just one problem. Salvation doesn't work that way. So as long as you think you can get to okay, or that you can do enough good stuff to counteract all your bad stuff, you will never enter God's kingdom, because God doesn't grade on the curve. Now, the Bible clearly says that there is no one righteous, not even one. It also says that nobody can do anything that will make you righteous, because even your most righteous deeds are like filthy rags before God. And here's what that means. You can't do anything to get to righteous. You can huff and puff and try to impress God. You can earn huge piles of spiritual brownie points and try to erase your mishaps by, staring at a piece of stained glass, memorizing the Sermon on the Mount, or singing the doxology 3 times backwards. But trusting in religious activity for your salvation is as useless as that eager young plumber at the Niagara Falls. He studied it for a bit and then said, I think I can fix that. Oh, no, you can't. To think that you can do enough good stuff to cancel out the bad, it's like asking your trash guy to perform open heart surgery. Not going to happen. And if you adopt Harry's plan to try to just barely nudge out the competition, it can't be. It won't be holy enough. Now, here's the thing. Well, I'll save the thing for after the break. I just noticed the clock.
You got me on the edge of my seat now, Wyatt.
It's the cliffhanger.
Oh, man.
All right, we'll be right back.
All the time.
Welcome back. Just before the break, I made it clear that you could never do enough good stuff to cancel out your bad stuff. And you can't just try to nudge out the competition either. However, if you're willing to admit, first to God and then to yourself, that what I just said is true, if you're also willing to say, here's the thing, Jesus, if you don't fix me, if you can't fix me, there is no fixing me. If you know that you are spiritually busted and that when it comes to being righteous, you're the strikeout king, the kingdom of heaven is available to you. In fact, it is only available to someone who knows that they on their own could never measure up to God's standard. It's like one writer put it. He said, the one who is seriously convinced that he deserves to go to hell is not likely to go there. But the man who believes he is worthy of heaven, he's not going there either. Do you remember the Apostle Paul? Like you, he struggled with this very issue. And even though Paul openly admitted that he was a spiritual disaster, you remember back when he was facing the dirt on the Damascus Road? His battle with this issue wasn't even close to over, because Paul still believed that he was something on a stick, God's gift to the church even. Just days after his conversion, Paul, the Bible says, at once began to preach Jesus. At once. The trouble is, people didn't like him. They didn't trust him. They were even afraid of him because they still didn't believe that he really was a disciple. Because not too long before, he'd been killing people like them. So the Lord put him in time out. And yet when Paul came back after 3 long years, it was more of the same. And so Paul got defensive. He even demanded, am I not an apostle? Have I not seen Jesus? Are you not the result of my work? You people wouldn't even be in the kingdom if it wasn't for me. I bet that really impressed them. But as time passed and as his spiritual insight grew, Paul, the great apostle Paul, finally realized, I'm nothing if not for Jesus. In fact, he actually said, I don't even deserve to be called an apostle. Man, that's a switch. Paul said that. And then he said this, I am less than the least of all God's people. Oh, but there's more. Because when Paul finally got real about all the sin that he had done, he shouted out, oh, what a wretched man I am. But he's still not done. Near the end of his life, this, the most prolific Christian leader of all time, the most iconic follower of Jesus of all time, Paul, so utterly unimpressed with himself and so thoroughly impressed by God, he said this, hang on. He said, Christ Jesus came into the world to save sinners, of whom I am the worst. Wow. God was patient with Paul to the point that great man of God finally figured it out, that he was nothing, and that when it came to salvation, he had nothing to bring to the table. Zip, zero, zilch. And it's because true salvation happens when you admit to yourself and to God, there's no earthly reason why God would want to save you. Okay, Wyatt, but then how can we be saved? Jesus said it. He said, what is impossible with men is possible with God. The word is impossible. And that's Jesus' word. He didn't say improbable. He didn't say unlikely. He said impossible. No chance. No way. No loopholes. No hope. Impossible. I want you to follow me here because by contrast, I suppose there is a chance you could jump the Grand Canyon. And maybe, just maybe, you could swim the Pacific Ocean from San Diego to Honolulu. You might. There's also an outside chance you could fly to the moon by holding to the tail of a paper kite. But when it comes to your eternal destiny, if all you've got in your little bag of salvation tricks is, well, I tried to live a good life, I got a word for you, except it's not my word. It comes from Jesus. What is that word again? I can't remember. Oh, impossible. So here is God's plan. Everything from him, nothing from you. Salvation is a gift, and only God can give it. And the cool thing is, he happens to love giving that gift. To me, these are the sweetest words ever written. Listen to this. Because of his great love for us, God, who is rich in mercy, made us alive with Christ, even when we were dead in our transgressions. For it is by grace you have been saved. It's all about grace. Salvation has nothing to do with your goodness and everything to do with God's love. You are saved and I'm saved, not because we're deserving, but because he is a God who is rich in mercy. So here's the bottom line. If you think you can give me even one reason why Jesus would want to save you, I'm sorry, you still don't get it. You still don't get it. But we want you to. In fact, that's the only reason we do this show. We want you to get it. So I understand if you still have questions. I've certainly had my share, and I still do. And I've been following Jesus, hang on to your seat, for 60 long years. And it's not because my questions don't have answers. It's because God's answers are beyond my understanding. God can't explain it because my mind can't contain it. Paul said it best, who has known the mind of the Lord? And the answer is, none of us. Nobody. To think that our little pea-sized itty-bitty minds full of mush could make even the tiniest splash in God's big ocean, there's no way. How can a holy God of perfection accept a holy, imperfect someone like me? I don't know. I can't explain it except to tell you what the Bible has told me. It's all because of grace. And the only thing that God requires from you could just be the hardest thing you've ever had to do. You simply have to admit that you are lost and that there is nothing you can do. There is not one blasted thing in all the earth you could even try to do to get your own self found, unless you place all that you are in the hands of all that Jesus is, and you trust him, and only him, for the grace that you need to be saved. You do that, and only that. And it's not a might be, it's not even a could be, it is. Holy cow! Through Christ alone, you can be made holy.
So good, Wyatt. A lot of people believe that being good, kind, forgiving, and generous is enough. And those are beautiful things, the very way God actually teaches us to live. But as you said, even the best of us still fall so short. We all have blind spots and moments where pride or fear get in the way. I think you said this earlier, that Scripture reminds us that we have all sinned and fall short of the glory of God. That's why we needed Jesus. That's why we need him. He didn't just show us how to live right. He became our righteousness. On the cross, he took our flaws and sins onto himself and offered us his perfection instead. Heaven isn't earned, like you said, by being good. And boy, am I so glad for that. It's hard being good even some of the time. Instead, it's received through the one who was perfect for us.
That's really good, Kimberly.
Thanks, Kimberly.
I like to think it. I'm glad you pointed it back to the cross and what happened on the cross, because the reality is, when we are at our very worst, that's when Jesus was at his very best. You know, like he made everything that we really want to attain in life possible, and it was through him. I've done a lot of funerals through the years. I know some of you on the cast, you've done that as well. And it's always just so good to remind people at that time about Jesus' love. You know, that he loves us not because of our great performance. He doesn't love us because of the achievements that we've done in life, the winning that we've done, you know. And he doesn't love us any less because, as Steve said, because of the way that we've torpedoed, you know, we have fallen so far short. He loves us just because that's the nature of God. He loves us because God is love. And I mean, I'd love to tie it back up to Charlie if I could. And I haven't been able to get away from it since we've talked about this, is that we need people to give up their tiger blood and they need to embrace Jesus' blood.
There we go.
You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys ever notice how uncomfortable people are with grace? You'd think
it
it'd be
is.
just an easy thing and embrace, but it can be really hard. We want to earn it. We want to prove we're not like those people. But grace wrecks all of that kind of accounting. Grace says the drunk in the alley and the deacon in the pew are both flat broke without Jesus. It's not fair. And thank God for that, because if it were fair, none of us would make the cut, as you guys have all seen. And if I can share, this has been a persistent problem for me since I was a kid. And I've been, as Wyatt says, I've been a follower of Jesus since I was a kid. But no matter what cool thing I ever got, within a short time, I was wallowing in its shortcomings. Why? Because if I had it, it must not be that cool because I didn't deserve it. Only since I've been in recovery, coming to terms with all kinds of bad things that I've done, have I begun to understand grace. I still struggle to think I deserve good things, but I have begun to understand that I can be blessed and still be thankful for those blessings without being self-righteous.
Yeah. I try to.
Still struggling.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, John.
I think we all are. I think that one of the things I try to do as we do this show is keep in mind that person that isn't yet in the faith, but also that person maybe that has been in the church, but turned off by inconsistencies, hypocrisies, and that's one of the reasons I talk the way that I do. So, I mean, if you're listening to this show, I want you to know I battled just like the Apostle Paul. I thought I was really something special, you know, and people told me I was something special. And I think carrying that, most non-believers can smell it, right? They smell it on you. And it took a long time for me to realize that I was not nearly what I thought I was. And John, you're laughing. I gotta ask why.
just smelling self-righteousness is just a whole different image. It's wonderful because you're exactly right. Whether it's TV preachers or the carny in the fair, there is an aroma that emanates from people who are trying to be what they're not.
And the point is, like, Steve, the reality is you are very special, and you always have been, and yet I think for a lot of us, we don't realize we're not the ones who generate that specialness. God has made you special, and you are a child of the Most High God. And when we try to generate that on our own, we're always going to have an inflated view of how good we are, or a very deflated view about how horrible we are. But if we can just live in that reality that we are a treasured child of God, it makes all the difference.
Yeah, for you who are listening to the show and you're trying to figure out what all of this means, I just want you to know you can sink as low as Charlie sank, or you can be something on a stick like I thought I was, that Paul believed he was. But regardless, none of that matters. In the end, it is all about Jesus, and it is all about his grace. See you next time.